Is Dak good enough to lead Skip's Cowboys to a Super Bowl this year?
No, based on what I've seen. And I like to think, Skip, you're like, hold on, let me get it. He'll be 29. He's made 89 starts. Is that a large sample size? Is that a large enough sample size, right? The inconsistency. Now, you've told me on several occasions, you believe this team is worse than the team that lost to San Francisco in the wild card.
I don't believe it. I know it's
okay,
worse.
You know that's worse.
Yes, and I think you know it's worse.
I do know it's worse.
Yes.
So now he says Dak needs to be their best player every single game. That has been their problem. Dak has been inconsistent. So I've seen far too many games like Kansas City, Denver, and Washington than I saw like the New England Patriots. Here's Dak's record. Over the last 3 seasons, Dak is 4-14 against teams that's made the playoffs. He's 3-1 against the Eagles that's made the playoffs. He's 1-13 against other teams that's made the playoffs. Therein lies the problem, consistency. He'll give you a game where he throws for 432. Man, Dak's got to be a top 5 quarterback. He needs to be in the MVP discussion. And then he'll come back and stink it up like he did against the Broncos. Or he'll stink it up like he did against Kansas City. Or he'll play bad for 3.5 quarters like he did against the Vegas Raiders. And then get the ball in overtime and politely go 3 and out. So I haven't seen the consistency since Dak's been in the league. Yes, he will give you glimpses of like, damn, man, did you see what Dak did? And then he'll give you, man, Dak down 30-0. Dak gave us 9 points on 12 possessions. So I don't see the consistency. So if he's inconsistent, the team hasn't gotten better, Dak's going to have to be, in order for them to go to the Super Bowl, Dak will need to win the MVP. Do you believe he's capable of doing that with those receivers and that running back, that offensive line that's gotten older? I don't believe the defense has gotten better. They have Michael Parsons, who I believe is unbelievable. You know what I think about him. Trayvon Diggs can be better, but he takes too many risks. The risk-reward factor is just too great for me. So, no, they're not going to no Super Bowl. And Cowboy fans, save your money. Don't go buying no tickets because you're not going.
Okay. I liked your stats that you came up with. I'm going to go a little bigger here. I'm going to hark back to those first 3 games of 2019 against what Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Famer, dismissed as garbage teams.
I told you they were.
Right? It was Giants, it was Washington, it was Miami.
Yes.
At that stage, they were all really bad football teams. But they were the first 3 opponents, my Dallas Cowboys in 2019, as Dak and Jerry were arm wrestling over contract. And Jerry said after the opener, a win over the Giants, Dak had a big game, predictably, that it was imminent that they were going to sign a deal. And then it wasn't because Dak and his agent decided, hey, we're lighting it up.
Right.
This is like the 4th of July in September, right? It's boom, boom, boom. And he was leading the league in QBR by far after 3 games. And they went to contractual battle and war and impasse, and it got ugly.
Yep.
Jerry was not happy.
No.
He felt like a verbal contractual rug had been jerked out from underneath him, and it takes him a long time to get over something like that because that's just principle to him. So here we went with everybody ranting and raving about that Dak is something. He just bet on himself against that Jerry Jones, he's the man above who rides herd on all these players, and he's going to take him to the cleaners. Nope, it didn't happen. So here's what did happen. From those 3 wins on, Dak Prescott as the starting quarterback of my Dallas Cowboys obviously missed in 2020, missed the back 2/3 of the season.
Right.
But in the games he started, he is 18-17. That's not all his fault, but he's been a virtual 500 quarterback.
Right.
That counts last year being 12-6 as a starter, but the problem was down the stretch, that team went 6-5, including the loss at home to San Francisco in the playoff game.
Okay.
6-5 won't cut it because a lot of the 5 were Dak's fault. A lot of those 5, the 6-5, because it's going to start with the Denver loss at home.
Right.
And then it's at Kansas City, and you have the ball 12 times, and you manage 3 field goals. And then it's the Raiders on Thanksgiving. It was just devastating. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating for me as a Cowboy fan on the biggest stage in the game, this side of the Super Bowl, to do that.
Right.
And then it was even Arizona at home leading to San Francisco at home. And Dak was pretty terrible against San Francisco. So this is the ultimate test because they did not improve. I don't care what anybody tries to wrangle or tell you or try to pull wool over your eyes. They didn't get better. Jerry's crowing about his draft picks. Well, all I know is that Tyler Smith, that they took at number 24, everybody, all the way up to Mel Kiper, they said that was just wrong because next pick went to the Baltimore Ravens, and it was Tyler Linderbaum, that center from Iowa. And by all accounts, he's going to be 10, 12, 14-year Pro Bowler. We're talking about Pro Bowl. So let's watch and see.
Right.
Is that true?
Right.
Because that Biotish that they're trying to get by with the center, I don't think he's very good.
Right.
I think he's average at best.
Right.
Okay, so you left him on the table. And then the next pick, the Jets go right back up at 26, and they snatched that Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. And by all accounts, including Mel Kiper, he was
a top 10 value.
He's top 10. What are we doing here? So now I'm going to have to monitor the progress of Linderbaum and Jermaine Johnson starting next year into the next 3-4 years. Are they going to emerge as Pro Bowlers? Is Tyler Smith? Some people say Tyler Smith is diamond in the rough. Well, he's in the starting lineup at left guard.
Well, here's the thing.
Hold it down?
Here's the thing, Skip. Let's just say Dak have 6 good games, great games. When are they? Because what would Joe Flacco do? Joe Flacco would always pick the right time to get hot. He would be stinking it up. And like the last game of the regular season and then to the playoff, Skip, that joker catch fire.
Well, he caught fire in the playoffs like no joker I've ever seen.
And remember,
I've never seen like the disparity between regular and playoffs.
And remember, though, Skip, he had an opportunity to beat the Patriots again, and Lee Evans dropped the touchdown with 30 seconds to go on the clock.
He did drop it.
He had, I think maybe it was Pittsburgh or somebody else, in which T.J. Houshmandzadeh dropped a pass that would have kept the drive alive on 4th down. So he could get hot at the right time. Can Dak get hot? 6 games to start the season, and then all of a sudden you taper off, doesn't do you any good.
No.
If you get hot at the right time, but Skip, I mean, 89 games is a large sample size to say, okay, this has to be who he is, Skip. At this point in time, he has to be a guy that's going to do this. And you hope that...
Yeah, but if you do this in the back half of the season, it's no good.
You better hope
if you could do this.
At the back half, okay, you're on to something. But we haven't seen him do that.
No.
He normally plays well at the beginning of the season, and his play starts to taper off at the end of the season. Well, that's no good. You want to be playing your best football going into the playoffs.
I keep telling you, I'm still glass half full from last year. They led the league in points scored and yards gained.
Right.
They led the league in takeaways on defense.
Yes.
They tied for the lead in turnover ratio, which always dictates. It's always the deciding stat in your game of professional football. It decides what's the turnover rate? Okay. Dallas was not good. It was great last year, but 6-5 down the stretch. These numbers camouflaged the problems, and the problem started with the quarterback just didn't play very well.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But those numbers that you mentioned, Skip, they've got to come when you need them. See, they needed those yards. They needed those points. What did they give you, 17 points, 21 points in the playoff game? Yeah. You averaged 30.
You did.
That's what I needed, 30. I don't need the 30 against... I don't need you to put up 50 points against the Eagles.
Against their practice squad.
Right. I don't need 56 points.
He set the franchise record for touchdown passes against their practice squad.
You putting up big numbers in meaningless games. Now when we need those points, you can only give me 21?
Okay, so now we find out this year what this man is truly made of, because you have an average at best center. You got that Terrence Steele in for Lyle Collins at right tackle. You have aging Tyron Smith and aging Zach Martin. And you got a kid at left guard who might be pretty good, might not be very good, who's led the college football in holding penalties last year.
But here's the thing, Skip, what you also got to hope. You have to hope your defense is just as good this year as they were last year. Do you believe you got the guys that are going to lead the league in takeaways? Because if you don't, that puts even more.
A lot of that is just luck to me.
Thank you.
It is.
And you don't normally get lucky twice in back-to-back seasons.
No, you
because
don't.
we saw Tampa play outstanding. That defense wasn't the same last year as it was then when they went and won the Super Bowl.
Okay, so all of a sudden, there's no Gallup for a while. Cedric Wilson is gone. And he was a real security blanket last year.
Y'all got Noah Brown.
Okay, there's no Amari. And all of a sudden, it's feeling like CD or bust with the wide
Y'all
receiver.
got Jalen Tolbert, y'all got James Washington, y'all got Noah Brown. Y'all straight.
Yeah, we're straight. Yeah, we're straight. Okay, so Dak, what are you made of? There are times
You made a $40 million.
Okay, well, last year he made $75 million. So
Yeah.
you're talking about straight. He's straight
Yeah.
for life,
Yeah.
right? As far as that goes. But the point is, I've seen him through great stretches play with high character, baller, gamer. Come out and be accurate and be dominating. He's healthy for the first time in a long time.
He got abs.
He's got abs. He's lost some baby fat, he says. So whatever the best version of Dak is, I believe you're going to get it because you're going to have to get it if they're going to even win the East. Seriously, Philly is coming.
So let me ask you this. Dak is in the best shape of his life. He's lost the baby fats. He's chiseled. I mean, he looked like a Mr. Olympia.
Yep.
What happens? You go 9-8. What happens? You lose in the first round again. Then what?
You still owe him for
2 more years. 2 more years.
Right, 2 more years, yeah, after this, yeah. I don't know. This is it. This is make or break for him on reputation. This is where you find out. This is where, at the end of this year, I'll sit back and say, that's who he really is.
Yeah, okay.
I'm still holding out hope, as I always tell you. Sometimes he's played like the 4th overall pick, and a lot of the rest of the time he's played like a 4th round draft choice.
So after this year, no matter what their record is,
Yeah.
you will come out here and say, well, this is who Dak Prescott is.
I will.
Okay. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted right there.
Super Bowl might be a lot.
There you go. See? You know good well Cowboys not going to the Super
Hope
Bowl.
springs eternal this time
know
of
it
year.
for a fact.
That's the rule. Guys, we'll get our first look at Skip's Cowboys July 27th. They're heading to Oxnard for training camp for a while.
You want to watch practice?
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.